Did you know the book Frankenstein by Mary Shelley was inspired by true events in Scotland? As a teenager living in Scotland in the early 1800s, Mary was aware of the highly publicized death mailings. Body snatchers operated in kind of a legal gray area, so stealing items from a body was not legal, but to actually steal a dead body was not considered property and therefore could not technically be stolen.
Sweet.
In the 1800s, medical schools were booming. Students would try to get their own fresh bodies for autopsies and experiments, but that was tricky. You needed a body of someone who had just passed away in the last 24, maybe 48 hours. And students had to provide their own bodies, so they would watch the graveyards and compete with other students to grab those bodies. So the good news about that is that back in the day, they did not really embalm, so they did bury their bodies very quickly. You could get about $1,200 in today's money for a body, though. So a lot of people thought it was worth it. So now you have to store this thing somewhere until you can use it, right? Some students would just toss them under their bed. Some would hoist them up on the roof. And others would just prop them up in a chair in their room like they were Uncle Bob visiting. There was a lot of money to be made. If you could find a body of a person who died of hydrocephalus, or had dwarfism, or had any kind of disfigurement, you could get paid a lot of money. So people were going to stop these body snatchers. What the hell? No! Families began to hire guards to protect the graves until the body had been rotten enough that nobody would want it. Watchtowers were also built in numerous cemeteries. In fact, you can still see this watchtower in Edinburgh. The more affluent had metal covers put on their graves to stop these resurrectionists. And some of them were pretty ornate. Most body snatchers were men, but there were a few women called man-stealers. No, I said man-stealer.
Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Exactly, except the man is dead. The most notorious ones were William Burke and William Hare, who killed 16 people. Dr. Knox, who was buying those bodies, did not get charged, but his reputation was ruined and he had to move to London. So he did get punished. Wait, Frankenstein? And don't think this doesn't happen these days as well. In 2007, a funeral director and a dentist were charged with illegally harvesting tissue and bone from cadavers and making millions. We don't need another reason to be fearful of the dentist. But you never know. Frankenstein may be real. And that's how the events in Scotland in the early 1800s motivated Mary Shelley to write the book Frankenstein. If you want to learn more, I would highly recommend going to the Surgeons' Hall Museums in Edinburgh, Scotland, and taking the Blood and Guts tour.